my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Caro Herrera, and today I'm going to be reviewing the series Sex and the City and its two movie sequels. So the show ran for 6 seasons from 1998 to 2004, and it's based on a book by the same name by Candace Bushnell. Its cast members are Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, Kim Cattrall, Kristen Davis, Chris Noth, John Corbett, Kyle MacLachlan, Jason Lewis, William Garson, Candice Berger, and many others. Also, I love the fact that several celebrities were guest stars of this show way before they were famous, so it's funny to see them so young knowing what lay ahead for them. Some of them are Bradley Cooper, Justin Theroux, Elizabeth Banks, Timothy Olyphant, Bobby Cannavale, Kat Dennings, Vince Vaughn. Anyways, before I begin, let me just say that this will be a review with mild spoilers, so beware. So I can't remember the first time that I became aware of this show, but I do have vague memories of secretly looking at my older sister's DVD covers when I was a teenager, and I was like, whoa, this looks like really forbidden material. But then, when I was in my late teens, my sister lent me her copies, so I watched them, and I remember that first time I was like really obsessed with it. I loved it. And then when I was in my early 20s, I saw the show again, and I remember that I got pretty excited when both movies came out. Fast forward several years later, and now that I'm in my late 20s, and after having gone through some very interesting relationships, I was suddenly like, hey, Sex and the City is about women in their 30s, and you're almost 30. So you should watch it again with a more mature perspective now that you could sort of know even more what they're talking about because you've sort of lived through some of those situations. I wanted to see how much I related to the characters. So yeah, I rewatched it for the third time back in May 2021, and overall I like Sex and the City. It's never been a favorite show of mine, but I still wanted to review it for my channel. It's set in the late 90s and early 2000s, and we follow the lives of four really close friends in their 30s and 40s as they navigate friendship, love, heartbreaks, work, fashion, self-discovery, illnesses, babies, and so much more. The protagonist is Carrie Bradshaw, played by Sarah Jessica Parker, and she is addicted to shoes and cigarettes and is a writer who has a weekly column for the fictional New York Star called Sex and the City. The author of the story, Candace Bushnell, has said that Carrie's like her alter ego because he used to write under that fake name. Carrie has several lovers throughout the series, but the most important ones are Mr. Big and Aiden. Big is sexy, rich, sophisticated, confident, a man of the world who's also very charming and a bit of a playboy. And Aiden is like the perfect man for me. Loving, trusting, hard worker, he loves dogs and babies. Another friend and my favorite character is Charlotte York. She's the one I can relate the most to, and she's played by Kristen Davis. She's a conservative, feminine, elegant woman who loves romance and tradition and works at an art gallery. Charlotte is always looking for her white knight, and her role model is Elizabeth Taylor. Samantha Jones is played by Kim Cattrall, and she's the oldest of the group. She's a very confident woman who works at public relations, and she is very sexually active. She is shocking, a true friend, smart, and loves her body and doesn't want to ever get married or have kids. The last friend is called Miranda Hope, played by Cynthia Nixon, and she is the one with whom I identify the least and thus the one I like the least as well. She's more of a tomboyish woman who is also a lawyer, who isn't fond of romance or being emotional, but she's intensely loyal to her friends and she's courageous too. Okay, so while Sex and the City isn't my favorite show, I really like it and it's a great production. So I'm giving the show a 5 out of 5 stars review and the movies a 4 out of 5 stars review. So I do recommend you this story because while I got a bit frustrated with the characters at times, by the time I ended the series I was like, no Carrie, don't walk away, I want to keep on following your story. And this leads me to say that I shall start my review with the character of Carrie, the protagonist. I like Carrie, but I must admit that I was really annoyed by her in the first seasons because of the way she acted when she was dating Big. Thankfully, her character does evolve as the story progresses, but then she would do things that I want to think I would never do, and here I'm talking about Aiden, and I just wanted to shake her with frustration because I'm Team Aiden all the way, even though Mr. Vic is very charming. As I said, I cared for Miranda the least, so I don't really have anything to say about her except that I'm glad that the way her story ended. Samantha was great fun and she would be a great friend, but she was too outgoing and wild for my taste. Charlotte, on the other hand, was almost perfect. I could relate to her in so many ways, from her fashion choices to the way she never gives up on romance and seeking her white knight to her feminine mannerisms. The show overall is a great production, as I've said, and I think it's funny that the first time I saw it, I was like really shocked by it. The second time I was really entertained by it, and this time I was concentrating more on the fact that I could now relate to a lot of the situations that were being portrayed, and so I was sort of looking for advice for the future. And I just really want my friends to see the show because we're the same age and we could have so many great times, but so far I haven't been able to convince them to give it a try. Moving on, as to the films, I do remember watching them at the movie theaters, and I now rewatched them for this review after many years, and I like them, especially the fashion, because in the movies they are like really dressing to impress, whereas in the show they weren't always doing that, in my opinion. But I'm not a fashion expert, so who knows. The movies were clearly just like indulgences for fans, so they made the characters go through new troubles just so we could meet up with them all over again. But they're entertaining, so I do recommend them as well. What I enjoyed the most about them this time around, though, was the fact that I think the second movie might have been my introduction to two important things. The film It Happened One Night, and the whole Immortal Beloved tale of Beethoven. Now, I may be mistaken because I've always loved Old Hollywood and Gone with the Wind is my favorite movie, so you might have discovered It Happened One Night thanks to Clark Gable, but maybe it was thanks to Sex and the City. And as to Immortal Beloved, Gary Oldman was my teenage crush, and so I tried to watch as many of his films as possible back then, included Immortal Beloved, but maybe I did discover it due to Carrie Ann Big. Okay, so for the moment, this is all I have to say about Sex and the City. When the series sequel comes out, that's called And Just Like That, I will of course be watching and reviewing it. But until then, thank you so much for watching my review of this series and movies. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you did or if you didn't, as well as what are your own thoughts regarding the movies, the series, the sequel, the characters, the author, anything that's relevant, because I would love to talk about it all with you. Also, in the description box below, you can find a link to the series IMDb page and to the IMDb pages for both movies. And well, I'm Caro Herrera, the Mental Traveler, and I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you're in the world. I'll be seeing you soon, take care, and goodbye!